Hi Dan, thanks for meeting me again. I promised I'll buy you a cup of coffee the next time, but I forgot to bring it.
Yeah.
But I promise I'll do so the next time. But anyway, things have been going great since the last time we met about a week ago. Classes, and I took some of your advice. I did some of the stuff that you mentioned in terms of activities. Things are going relatively okay, and I'm actually quite inspired. So I went to the library, you'd be proud of me, to actually read some stuff. And I came across this book by Jeff Petty, I think, on evidence-based teaching. Could you just share with me some of your thoughts on that? What's that?
Perhaps let's start with an analogy.
Yeah.
When you go to the doctors,
Yep.
if something's wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
you'd expect the doctor to know a fair bit about the human body and how it
Better.
works.
He better. If not, he would be a quack, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if you went there and you got a dice out and he threw it and he said, well, if it's 1, I'm going to give you this, and if it's 2, I'm going to kind of touch the seat, and if it's 3, I'm going to say go and stroke, next door neighbour's dog.
Right.
That would spook you, wouldn't it?
Of course.
Yeah, that's right. Because medicine is based on the idea that we know quite a lot about the body, and when you get a disease, it's some malfunction in the body, and you need to kind of prevent it or treat it in certain ways.
Sure.
And again, when we go on an aeroplane, and you get on that plane, it's made of metal, and there's loads of people on it, and they've got heavy luggage, and it's up in the sky at 24,000 feet or whatever.
Right.
We work on the assumption that there is some kind of logic, some science that keeps that plane up there, as
Yep.
opposed to it coming down, right?
Yep.
Now then, in teaching, what's kind of interesting is that for long periods of time, that teaching is something, I think like what you said to me previously, I would just go and teach as though it's a kind of natural thing.
Isn't it by instinct?
Yeah, and
Yep.
Peter Drucker's comment when he said, well, we kind of just leave it to the natural. Someone who knows how to teach, there doesn't seem to be a real clear knowledge base about
Yep.
what constitutes good teaching.
Okay.
So what's emerged, certainly over the last decade, and it started before, but it's now really coming to the fore. And when Jeff Petty, in his book, talks about there is now a revolution in teaching,
Right.
what he's basically saying is there's a lot of research now about how humans learn.
Okay.
Some of this has always been around. Also with advances in cognitive psychology and cognitive neuroscience, where we can actually map the brain. So not only now do we have theories about learning, but we also have some hard empirical evidence about how the
Right.
brain processes information, particularly memory, those kind of things, as we'll see a little bit later. And the idea now is, instead of teaching just being, well, I think I'll do that, or, I saw my teachers do that,
Right.
we look at how humans learn.
Okay.
And there's an hell of a lot of knowledge about that. And that's something that in the program we'll look at in more detail.
Are you then saying that right now teaching can be categorized into a template?
No, not a template, but
Okay.
what we see is that we now have an understanding about how humans learn.
Okay.
Which means that when we design, remember our instructional strategy?
That's right.
You actually said, well, how many activities and how long do
That's
I
right.
talk? Well, in a sense, it's this understanding of the learning process that
Okay.
helps to shape that.
Right.
So you consider a number of things. What are you trying to teach? What's the motivational level of the students? And then
Right.
you start thinking about, well, what methods would be most appropriate? What activities would be useful to connect the theory to the practice?
Right.
How do you create an environment in the classroom where the students feel comfortable and feel that they want to participate? So what we're now saying is we've got a lot of knowledge about human behaviour generally,
Right.
not just about thinking and memory. And if we use that knowledge thoughtfully
Okay.
in the way we design these instructional strategies, we're likely to create a better learning experience for the students.
So what you are saying, or correct me if I'm wrong, is when we plan for a strategy or an activity, we must make sure that it is grounded in proven that these methods work because they address the students' learning needs. Is that correct?
Yeah, partly the learning needs, but the basic fact that the mind typically works
Right.
in certain ways. Now, when
Okay.
you say we use the best methods, there was groundbreaking research by someone called John Hattie.
Right.
And what he did was a massive analysis of all the research that's been done on factors that affect student attainment. And he identified that certain methods tend to work better than others. Now,
Right.
he's not saying that there are some methods that always work better, but they
Right.
tend to work better.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you know yourself that you have different classes, different students,
That's
and
right.
different personalities, different moods, different times of day. So you've always got to adjust it. So you'll never have a template. It's never like, say, you know, when you boil water at 100 degrees centigrade, it will always boil.
Right.
Students are human beings, and you know they're subject to a lot of things. Sometimes they come to your class in a bad mood,
Right.
you know, some of them for various reasons. But what we're saying now is that we understand a lot more about human learning, human motivation, and from that basis we can
Okay.
design instructional strategies that give us a better opening frame. So when we teach, it should work better, and because we understand how the students work and how the mind works, we can adjust situationally. So what we're saying is teaching now is increasingly got a strong evidence base, a scientific base.
Right. Okay.
And upon that, and this is the nice thing as we'll see later, it's still up to the individual teacher to be creative at that person's own personality level.
Right. So
to
I'm
influence
still
the
matter in
situation.
the entire situation.
Yeah,
Right.
in fact, you are the person. I mean, look, we all know what good football is. Me and you can sit and watch. We know what good passing is, and we understand the game, but we're not being paid $300,000 a week like Cristiano Ronaldo.
I wish I
so,
was.
So I think with teaching, it's a little bit like that. That
Right.
some people who have that understanding and are able to really create that powerful instructional strategy to that particular group of students. That's the kind of Cristiano Ronaldo of
Right.
teaching. And I'll be honest with you, there's not many of them, but that's what makes it such a challenging job.
Right.
You know, that idea that we can get better, we can engage more students better.
Right. Okay. So essentially, why then what would you say to a person if he or she says, why do I need to adopt evidence-based teaching? What would be a compelling reason for it?
Well, just sheer professionalism. At the end of the day, we talk about our teachers professionals. If we're not using knowledge bases as the basis for designing teaching, then if it's just do as you want, then we may as well have the cleaners teaching the classes.
Sure.
I mean, that's the difference. I mean, engineers, doctors, all of these people, the reason they get paid is because they've got vast knowledge bases and they've got expertise. So teaching must move that way. In the past, we didn't have so much evidence, or certainly the evidence wasn't kind of organised into very strong bases of knowledge as it is today. So if we're going to survive, I think, and call teaching a profession, it's got to be based on more than, oh, I just go in and teach. Otherwise, I might as well say, I just go in and operate, or I just go in, I fly the plane, you know. I've seen aeroplane, and, you know, it's got controls and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me, because when my colleagues told me to just go in and teach, I never knew what they were talking about. I mean, they were seasoned veterans, but what was bugging me was, how would I know they would be successful as well? But now that I've stumbled across Patty's work, but you have also given me something to read on John Hattie. Would it be okay if I just go back and read some of this stuff, and I'll come back and have another conversation with you?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff to it.
Right.
This knowledge base takes looking at carefully, understanding it, connecting together, as you would expect in learning anything. Doctors don't become qualified in a couple of weeks. It takes 5 to 7 years.
Right.
Same thing with engineers. How do we expect teachers to go straight in the classroom without any real training and be highly competent professionals? Doesn't make sense.
Right, exactly. It makes me feel much better now. But I promise I'll go and read it, and I promise I'll bring you the coffee the next time, and maybe you can share with me a little bit more.
You
your
did
thoughts.
mention the coffee
That's
prior.
right.
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, evidence-based when the coffee arrives.
Right. Thank you.